Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be eye swatching my Black Friday order from Pretties for Your Face. I tried and eye swatched Pretties for Your Face once before with varying levels of success. I'll try to remember to link that video down below. But that other time that I tried them, I kind of just went in blindly. I looked around the website, I vibed, I scrolled their Instagram page a little bit, and I found that what I got in the mail was different than what I expected from their website. So this time, I feel like I made much more informed purchases. I looked at as many swatches as I could. I compared the level of sparkliness, and I realized that some of their shadows, I feel like look flaky, but the flakiness looks flat and not reflective. If I can find an example of what I mean, I'll try to put up on the screen, but I'm not gonna put like anyone's personal swatches up on my screen. But based on lots of scientific research, I made a purchase. I'm really excited to try these out. Because I really liked Moby, which is a satin for my first purchase, I bought 3 more satins. I have the shade 11, A Burr, and Strange. I bought 3 of their newest and most expensive formula, the Mega Chromes. I think in the Black Friday video where I said I made an order, I said polymorphs, but I meant Mega Chromes. So I got the shades Powerhouse, the pink up here, Phenom, this one here, and Glacier, which is a collab with Smithy Sony, who also has a YouTube channel, and I recommend you check her out if you haven't. But this one looks so incredible in every swatch I've seen, and I'm really excited about it. In addition, I got Elves, which is a newer holiday shade that I thought looked really pretty. I have, is this Supernova, I believe, and Nitro. I know that a lot of comments on my last video were raving about Nitro. And I got Icicle, which is technically a highlight, but I thought it looked really pretty, and I had commented on one of their posts being like, I wish that there is a 26mm option for Icicle, and they replied back and they were like, just buy a different one, write in the notes that you want Icicle, and we'll do it. So that's what I did, and I'm really excited. I think that's really nice of them and reminds me of the joys of working with small brands where they have the freedom to do that sort of thing. And it does look really sparkly, and I am really excited. So I'm gonna try it on my eye, and I guess I'll try it on my cheek also, but yeah. So let's get into it. I don't have anything on my eyes right now. I think I want to finish with Glacier because I think I want that to be the shadow that I leave on for my look, but I'm still going to try to do kind of comparable shades at the same time. I really want to start off with one of the Mega Chromes, so I'm going to do the shade Powerhouse. This is a shadow that retailed for $18, and they were excluded from the 50% off sale they were having, but I was able to use an affiliate code on it and get, I think, 20% off. It's described as a pink base that shifts orange and gold with loads of sparkle. It's like their Sparklers formula, but amped up to 100. I really hope I like it. Okay, dipping in, it feels nice. I remember a lot of their shades last time around felt kind of like dry and rough and powdery to me. This one feels really smooth, and in fact kind of reminds me of the Looxi one that I just eye swatched recently, Jingle Juice, in color and in formula. This really reminds me a lot of the Looxi one, but it definitely has a stronger shift to it. Bronzy orangey gold is very prominent. I will say my first impressions is that I like this. I imagine this being a shade that will stick around in my collection and I'll reach for it, but at the same time, it's interesting that my first impression is that it reminds me of a $2.50 Looxi shadow when it's priced more like the most expensive tier from Terra Moons. So I like this. I think it's pretty. I think it's good enough for my collection, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it at the $18 price point. I wonder if once these aren't the newest thing they have, if they will start being included in the 50% off sales. And if it is, I would say this is a nice shade for the $9 price point. Next, I want to do the shadow Elves. This is a shadow that retails for $5, and it was included in their 50% off sale, and I was able to use the discount on top of it, so it came out to be really cheap, like under $2. It's described as a red with gold sparkles, and I'm excited because I think you can tell just looking at the pan that the sparkles look very fine, which is something that I look for. This one has a little bit of that soft feeling too. This actually feels really nice on my finger. So going on my eye, it definitely feels very textured, like I feel the particles, and if you're someone that's sensitive to that, I would say stay away from it, but I love how it looks on my eye. In fact, if you told me right now I could only keep one of these, I would keep Elves. I think this looks like a really unique shadow, and I don't have anything else like this. There's so much gold sparkle in there, and it even does kind of do the thing where like in the shadow you don't see the sparkle at all, and it looks a little bit more dimensional. The shade is a big hit. I really like that. Just wanted to quickly show you in less direct lighting. I can tell that this one is a shiftier shadow. But yeah, I still just like this one better. I do like how bright the pink sparkle looks though in the lower lighting. Okay, it's more special than the most recent Looxi shade. I'll give it that. Next, let's start with the shade Icicle, because I'm really, really excited for it. I don't know if you can see. I guess there you can. It just looks really pretty. It's described as a crazy sparkling wet look highlighter that has shifting blue/pink sparkle. I'll do it on my eye now, and then at the end when I do a whole look, I'll put it on my face then. It does feel drier than the last two, but not in like a too dry way, just in the way that those felt a little bit emollient and this one doesn't. Huh, I'm not sure about this yet. Putting it on, I felt like it looked really wet and incredible, but then when I kind of take a step back, I think it looks a little bit flatter on my eye. I don't know. I feel like this one I'm gonna have to decide in use if I like it or not, because I can't tell if it just looks like a whitish powder. I don't know. I feel like right now I'm seeing the blueness to it, and that looks special, but if it just looks white, I'm not into it. You can see like the sheerness of it when I turn my face. Ooh, I just don't know. I wish it felt a little wetter in the pan, like the last two did, but we're gonna have to see. I'm not totally sold on it, but yeah, I will use it for my inner corner for the look we do, and I'll use a little bit of my cheek. And hopefully by the end of this, I'll have some more feelings about it. Because right now I just feel like it might be a little bit too impactful, like a little bit too white to look like soft and wet, you know? Okay, next let's do another megachrome. This one's Phenom, and it's described as an icy blue that shifts green, pink, gold, and hints of purple. It's insane. It looks kind of like the cosmos in the pan, right? It feels like the last megachrome did, a little bit more emollient. This definitely does give me the cosmos vibe. I'm gonna have to compare them at the end. I see the blue base, of course, and then like peachy pinky sparkle, and then also kind of like yellow greeny sparkle. I wonder if when we do the low light angle, if I'll like see more of the shifts to it. But right now I do feel similar to how I did about Powerhouse. I like it. I think I'm gonna keep it around, reach for it, enjoy it, but I don't think it necessarily should be $18. Just considering what other indie brands charge for their most impressive shadows. But I do like it. I want to put a little icicle over it. Oh, that looks cool. I wonder if icicle will be a good layering shade, because I feel like you really see the teal sparkle when it's over top, and I like that. Cool. Maybe I shouldn't have layered this one up just yet, but I think you can clearly tell where icicle's over top and how the outskirts looks so cool. This actually looks so good in low lighting, and I'm sold. It looks so like yellowy, really interesting. I like it. And I like it with icicle on top too, just for like a little bit of extra dimension. I also really like how this looks right now. I think when it doesn't have the harsh light directly on it, it is doing that kind of like soft wet thing a bit more, kind of like disappearing and reappearing. I like these. Okay, let's take a brief step away from the shimmers and tackle the satins. This first one is called 11, and it's described as a light tan with a satin finish. I think in the pictures it looks very much like a grayed out tan, and it has like champagne sparkles to it. It feels very hard pressed when I tap into it, and compared to Moby, which was my favorite from my previous video, I'm not really seeing like apparent sparkles in it. maybe a little bit on the eye. But it's funny, the thing that I liked about Moby is that it really looked like a one and done shadow. And one of my lovely commenters said that the person that they collabed with to make it is a big fan of one and done shadows, so it makes sense. This one feels like a little bit too plain on my eye for me. I think if I took a step back, you wouldn't even realize I'm wearing any eyeshadow here. It could still be useful as kind of like a matte, which is how I intend to use it. I'm gonna try to fluff it in my crease a little bit on a brush. You know, it's hard to tell because it's so close to my skin tone, but I think this one I'm going to have to experiment and see, but like Moby excited me right away, and this one I'm feeling very like neutral about. Like I feel like if I were to use this in my crease instead of one of my mattes that I like, it would be just for the point of like trying it out and not out of like, I don't know, love and wonder, you know what I mean? I removed that one so we could swatch the next two Satins next to each other because they look almost indistinguishable in the pans. This top one is a Burr, and the picture on the website looks a lot more pinky, but I guess the swatch picture looks like a brown with maybe some like pink sparkle in it. It's described as a blackened iridescent purple with a satin finish. Very interesting. This one feels similar to the last one, pretty hard pressed, but it does look a little bit more interesting on my finger. I'm a bit more intrigued by it because I do see the pinkiness. It feels like nothing going on. Very, very, very smooth. And I don't think this looks like a shadow that I would wear all over my eye. But because of that hint of pinkiness to it, I'm excited to try to use it to like deepen the outer V of looks. Or perhaps the like fact that it's not very spreadable would make it a good deeper shadow to use on my lower lash line. So although like this effect on my eye right now isn't speaking to me, I am excited about the prospect of having this one in my collection. So it gets some points for that. And I guess perhaps we'll find out after this if me liking Moby was just kind of like a fluke, if it was like the perfect satin for me, fell in my hands and I liked it, as opposed to me being a person that likes satins. The last one also is on sale for $2, even though they're not having like a 50% off sale right now. So I wonder if they are discontinuing it. The next shadow is Strange, and it's described as a dusty taupe with a satin finish. But this one looks kind of purpley to me too. Like I'd say this one even looks a little bit more purple in the pan than a Burr. I don't know, pretty similar. This one feels a little bit looser packed. It has more of a sheen to it on my finger. And it feels softer going on. Oh, interesting. I think I like this one the best out of all the satins so far. And I do see the difference on my eye. It's funny how they're described because I feel like this one's like a raspberry brown, like a raspberry cookie. And this one has more purpliness in it. But both of them I'm excited to use to deepen up looks and on my lower lash line. And this one, like I would feel a little bit more intrigued if I was doing like a subtle but deep matte brown look. I do think this could look interesting on the lid. I don't know if I would ever actually like spend a day doing that, but I see the vision for that one. We're back to the shimmers and there's 3 left. The next one is called Supernova. It looks so beautiful. I don't know what put me on to this shadow, but I'm happy something did. It's described as a deep purple with blue, pink, and green sparkles. It feels powdery, but it also feels like soft powder. I'm liking how that's looking. Oh, this one's good. It's messy. I might try to pick up less on my finger next time, but I love how this looks on my lid. Wow. It just looks really sparkly, really shiny, really like full, but at the same time, it doesn't have a deep base to it, so it makes it easier for me to like integrate with looks where I'm not trying to go that deep with them. I like this one. I like this one a lot. Okay, so the next one is Nitro, which looks kind of similar to, or I guess not really, to Supernova. Supernova definitely looks a lot more blue and Nitro looks a lot more purple. This is one that I know was recommended by you guys, and this is one of their $10 shadows, which I think are called the Polymorphs. It's described as a lavender, pink, blue, shifting multichrome. It feels drier to the touch, but it does look really pretty on my finger. I don't know if it's going to translate on camera. Yeah, it definitely looks more dimensional on my finger. Okay. Okay, I'm happy I have these on at the same time. I will say finish-wise, I'm more excited about how this one looks on my eyes. But I do see the shiftiness in here. It looks kind of like bronze in there. It doesn't even say anything about bronze, but that's what I'm seeing. This is pretty though, and I could imagine doing a really dimensional look with this on like the outer edges of a halo eye and this on the center. I also like the effect of this, how it looks kind of like a navy blue with like lavendery pink sparkle to it. I think it does look really pretty, but for my own personal taste, it's not knocking my socks off. On to our final shade. I did put eye primer on for this just because I'm going to be continuing to wear the shadow for the rest of my day, and I'm so excited because we're finally trying Glacier. This color is 100% up my alley. I love shades that are like any combination of like pink and purple, and this looks like both simultaneously. And again, it's a collab with Smithy Sony, who posts a lot of YouTube videos. I really like her channel and I recommend it. It's described as a beautiful mega shifter with a purpley base that shifts pink, green, orange, and blue. It feels like those other megachromes that are slightly emollient, and that looks nice. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. I was nervous that the purple base was going to be too deep, but it's perfect. It like just perfectly blends in with the shadow. I don't think I have anything quite like this. It kind of reminds me of the two duality shades I have from Shine by SD, just because of the type of like thin sparkle to it, but those don't feel like they have as much of a base. Oh wow, I see the shifts in there too now. I'm seeing like yellow and copper. I really like this. I'm really excited, and I'm so happy that I decided to finish off on this so that I can continue wearing it. And I think I'm going to just keep doing the eye look with you instead of doing it off camera because there are a lot of shades here that I want to incorporate. Who knows if it'll show up, but I'm going to go in with 11 and try to add that into my crease. Okay, that seems to be working. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, this definitely looks more how I expected it to based on the website than how it looked in the finger swatch. I wonder if the website is using brush swatches? It's not exactly my ideal crease color to wear with this lid shade, but it'll do for today. But I am excited to wear this lid color with like a more pinky nude. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Nitro on a more packing brush and use that for the outer. Oh, that goes so nicely with it. It adds like that nice deep blue, but the color of the sparkle seems pretty consistent. Okay, I am gonna head off camera to do the rest of my base, but then we'll come back for the inner corner, lower lash line, and highlight. I'm really feeling this look. For my lower lash line, I went to start with a Burr, the first of the deep satin ones that we did, and just do that in like the outer half. Okay, that really applies exactly like I hoped it would. No fallout, but kind of like blends itself in a way. That excites me. I like that. And then I want to do another shimmer on my lower lash line. I think I'm going to do Phenom. This one is picking up on the brush pretty nicely, I think because it's that slightly creamy formula. But I am realizing as I put this on that I don't think I want something so light down here. I'm going to very carefully go in with Supernova. I'm scared because I'm anticipating fallout, but I think like if we could get it on, it would look really nice. I don't know if it really laid down there. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit of that deepening. I think I am going to go over that with a little bit more of the A Burr shade. It gives a little definition. And why not? What if I try a little Glacier down there too? I don't really feel like any of these shimmers are picking up quite right for my lower lash. But it is adding like a hint of that pretty purple. On my inner corner, we're gonna do Icicle. Very bright. It's like storming outside. I don't know if you can hear. Okay, that does look pretty. I feel like I have been moving away a little bit from using shades that are so intensely white on my inner corner. But it does get the job done, and I like that it doesn't look so chunky or anything. I don't know if I'm gonna like this on my cheeks, but we're gonna try it anyway. Okay, that like flaked everywhere. It doesn't pick up like other highlighters, it picks up very piecey. Yeah, I personally would not recommend this as a highlight shade. I think if anything, I would lay down a normal highlighter and then maybe tap this a little bit up high on it, but you could really do that with any kind of iridescent shadow anyway. Okay, I'm gonna take another look at this look, make any changes, maybe put on another highlighter on top of this, lipstick, mascara, all that stuff, and I'll be back again. Okay, so here's my scoop. I did something that I literally never do, which is wipe off. My baby was eating my salad. Which was wipe off my under eyes and redo it. The amount of glitter fallout that was under there was like unbelievable. I accept a bit of glitter fallout as someone who uses a lot of really shimmery shadows, but this was just ridiculous and there was no covering it up. So we just abandoned what was already down and started over down there. I ended up first just going along my lower lash line with Flighty, which is the same matte that I used, I think in my Looxi video for my final look, because I can't stop reaching into this for the mattes for my lower lash line. It's just what I do. And then on top of that, I went over the whole thing with a Burr, and I think it did deepen it up to like a nice eggplant shade, and I really like how it looks. And when I wiped off, it kind of did away with Icicle as a highlight also, and I just used my Becca Moonstone, my good, trusty highlight shade. So I am really, really, really pleased with how the look turned out. But yeah, I think moving forward, I won't be using any of those shimmers on my lower lash line because that was a disaster that I don't want to deal with again. So yeah, we're going to get into the couple comparisons that I mentioned because I feel like it'll help me make my ranking decisions. And then we're going to rank this collection. We're going to compare Pretties for Your Face Powerhouse with Looxi Jingle Juice, Powerhouse, Jingle Juice. So the color is essentially spot on. Powerhouse, I'd say, is like a hair deeper, but literally a hair. And they actually do seem to be reflecting really similar as well. I would say that Powerhouse from Pretties for Your Face is a more shifty shadow. It is kind of hard to see in this light, but I can tell it's like jumping to the switch a little quicker. Let me see if I can capture this in my other angle. I'm wearing Christmas dog pajama pants. So maybe you can see that Powerhouse, the one closer to my thumb, is more shifty, but the Looxi one does give it a run for its money. I will say that. I think like towards the top of that Powerhouse one, you could see the different colored sparkles in there a little bit. But yeah, they are extremely similar in almost every way other than the price. And then we have Pretties for Your Face Phenom and Terra Moon's The Cosmos. Phenom, The Cosmos. Those are quite similar as well. I would say that the Cosmos is shiftier. It kind of like jumps to those other colors quicker than the Pretties for Your Face one does. But they both do that like yellowy thing, and they both do that pinky thing. But it is interesting because it's like this one, it's like we're comparing an $18 shadow with a $3 shadow. And I think in the case of the pinks, the Pretties for Your Face is a little bit nicer, but for the price, you might as well go for Looxi. I don't know, that's kind of what I think. And then for these two, they're essentially the same price. I guess the Pretties for Your Face, you can use a discount code, and Terra Moon's doesn't usually allow discount codes on the Cosmos anymore. But what's going to end up being like $15 and change versus $17 and change, I would go for Terra Moon's. However, I think if they start including these in their 50% off sales and you can get them for $9, it might be a little bit of a different story. The Terra Moon's one is the one by my pinky, and it does just look like a more intense shadow. I wasn't sure about how to rank these, so I took a little break and I came back to it, and I'm still not sure how to rank these. So I'm gonna give you some really loose rankings. I just feel like some of them have positives and then other ones have different positives, and it's like, are these positives better than those positives? I don't know. But the thing that is fun, I mentioned this in my video where I talked about my 20 favorite indie sickle shadows of 2022, that I didn't include any purchases from Black Friday and December into the consideration of that video. And I'm going to be making a separate video where I rank all of the shadows that I wasn't able to include in the top 20 video. So when I get around to doing that, when I have all the shadows in and I've had enough time to experiment with them, I will once again be pitching these against each other and against a lot of other shadows. But then if you read between the lines, you'll be able to see how these shadows stack up again after I've used them more. So that kind of makes me feel better that this isn't like an end all, the last time I'll tell you how these shadows work, you know? I often start at the end, but I just want to start at the beginning today, and number one is going to be Glacier. I'm really, really, really happy with the shadow. I thought I would be, and it is like everything I wanted it to be. And it has like every point for it. It's a color that I like. It's a formula that I like. It's sparkly and it's shifty and it's unique in my collection. So for all these reasons, this is the clear number one winner. And I'm really excited to have my hands on it. I'll make that swatch a little bigger for you. That's a nice looking shade. Number two, my instinct is to give it to Elves, which was the second one that we swatched, because I really like the shade of this. It's very unique and it has a lot of sparkle to it. The only thing that occurred to me afterwards is that I pre-ordered a bunch of Terra Moon shades like last week and they'll be shipping in January, and two of the shades might give this one a run for its money. There's the shade Venus in Chains and Arcturus, something like that. They're both kind of like orangey base shifty shadows, and I was interested in those because they looked really unique in my collection, but I think they might be along the same lines as this one. So again, those will be pitched against each other in the future video, so we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that then. But for now, very unique in my collection, and I really like it, and I'm excited to wear it. I put number three as Powerhouse, because although it is similar to the Looxi one, and the Looxi one is a better bang for your buck, I have both of them. And since I have both of them, I think this is the comparatively better shadow. It's up for interpretation whether or not it's $15 better, but since I already have them, better is better, you know? And I like that shade. I like the formula. I like the shift in it. I don't think it's as impressive as Glacier. I think you could even tell in the swatch. It doesn't look as shimmery, as glittery as Glacier does, but it still is like shimmery enough, and I really like it. For number 4, I have Supernova. This one feels unique in my collection, and I really liked how it looked on the lid. The only concern about it is that it does just seem a little bit loose when you pick it up. And that amount of fallout that I had was a little much. I'm definitely becoming less forgiving of fallout than I once was, just as I have a collection of shadows that I don't have to worry about that with. I'd rather use shadows that I don't have to clean up after, as opposed to shadows that I do, you know? But if I can figure out a way to use it with a lighter hand, something like that, I think I'll really get on with it, because I like the shade, and I like the depth without a base. Right after that, in number 5, I placed Nitro. This one, I really liked how it looked in that low light footage. I think just comparing it to Supernova though, it has more of a base, which kind of intimidates me, and it looks less sparkly. But the idea of it being a deeper version of Davina's Midnight Nova is really exciting to me, and I definitely want to pair them together. And even using it in the look I have on right now, paired with Glacier, they both have that same like pink sparkle. And I've noticed in certain like lights, it could be one shade because that sparkle just looks evenly dispersed between the two shadows. I don't know if you can tell on camera what I mean, but I like that. After that, I placed Phenom. I really like the shadow. I like the tone of it, but it is just so similar to the Cosmos. Time will tell with this one if I find a good way that I like using it, but right now it just feels like I can't imagine pulling for this one instead of the Cosmos. If I didn't have the Cosmos, I would be all over it. It would probably be up at the top right under Glacier, because it is a color that I really like, but I don't need 2 almost exact copies where one's slightly better than the other one. After that, I put Icicle. I really like how Icicle looks on my inner corner. I really like it. I like that soft blue glow. It's definitely grown on me, even since I just put it on. But I don't think it's the only thing in my collection that I could use to get that effect. I think I have Looxi shadows that I could get this with, or even Space Baby from Terra Moons is a more kind of like iridescent version, where it's not so much like just blue looking pigment, but it's like white that tints blue or whatever. I think it is nice, but I think it's less special and less versatile. And I don't like how it worked on my cheek at all. And then after that, I have the 3 Satins. Number 1 of the Satins, I put a Burr. Number 2, I put Strange. And last, I put 11, although I do like how this looks in my crease. I don't know if I'd be excited about it. So we have a Burr, Strange, and 11. I also did pull out Moby, which is the one that I mentioned that inspired me to be a Pretties for Your Face satin girly. And just looking at it in the pan, I can tell that it looks more interesting. Next to a Burr, I think you could just tell that like Moby looks like it has more sparkle in it. It looks like it has more sparkle in it. It just looks more interesting. And the 3 newer Satins look kind of flat like this. I'll show you what I mean in a swatch also. There's a swatch of Moby. I don't know if you can tell what I mean, but even just touching it, I could tell that Moby feels like it spreads a little bit easier. It feels a little softer. And these 3 all felt pretty hard pressed. But, you know, as I've been saying this whole time, time will tell how I use these, what I'm excited to grab for, and we will reconvene in the future about these. But overall, this was really successful. I almost wish that I ordered one that looked like kind of like the flat flakes like I was mentioning in the beginning, just to kind of like try to prove my point. But I feel like my theory worked. And I feel like if you look at swatches of these next to other ones, you can tell which ones look the most like glittery. I'm really happy to have these in my collection, and I'm like starting to see the hype. That is going to be everything for today though. I hope this was fun to watch. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.